My name is Chris, and I'm a high-masking autistic. But what exactly is high-masking autism? In this video, I'll break high-masking autism down into 5 key parts, which is great, because once you have all 5 parts, you'll know what high-masking autism is. Additionally, you'll have a better idea if you or someone you love is a high-masking autistic person. All right, enough of this boring intro stuff. Let's get started. Part 1. You have always felt different. A high-masking autistic person has probably spent a lifetime feeling different, and this can look many ways to different people. It can be the feeling of not fitting in or feeling trapped within your own body. Things bother you, and you don't see it bother other people. When you're at the grocery store, nobody else seems to squint under the fluorescent lights or flinch every time the scanner beeps at checkout. Nobody seems flustered when a specific brand of applesauce is out of stock. Nobody else seems to be bothered by the lady on her cell phone, whose laughter is so horrible, shrill and abrupt, makes your head feel like it's in a metal vise. And it also doesn't help that her grocery cart rattles like an old diesel engine. And her high heels, well, they sound like jackhammers every time they hit the ground. Come to think of it, why does this woman always manage to be in the same aisle as you? What's up with that? You even go to great lengths to avoid her, like skipping the entire candy aisle because she's there drooling over Reese's peanut butter cups. Yet she always manages to find you fairly quickly. In fact, here she is all of a sudden, blocking the entire display of spices when all you have left to get from your shopping list is some chili powder. Oh, and if she sneezes one more freaking time, you're going to take her entire shopping cart, Reese's peanut butter cups and all, and shove it directly up her ass. Sorry, what was I talking about? You learn ways to fit in, or ways to hide that these things bother you. You find ways to hide your feelings, but you always still feel different. You know you struggle, but you don't fully understand why, and you go to great lengths not to let other people see it. Part 2. You have developed camouflaging strategies to hide your discomfort at feeling different. You might be a master of mimicry, blending in with each group by emulating how they act. When you're with the sports guys, you talk football and slap their backs with a beer in hand. You don't even like beer. When you're with your colleagues, you dutifully listen to the small talk in the break room. You don't even like small talk. You answer back with scripted phrases that you know will help you get out of the discussion faster. You might hide the fact that you're lost in the conversation by having an awesome sense of humor and making people laugh with your quirkiness. That's actually just you. And you don't even like most conversations. You might go home some days and have a meltdown. In other words, you completely lose it. But you usually can do it within the safety of your own home. The weight of masking and camouflaging your natural autistic tendencies comes at a price. And that price is often your energy levels, and your patience, and your ability to breathe without throwing up 3/4 of your small intestines. You're probably almost always exhausted just by being out and about. So, you might spend most weekends at home, alone, or with very select people, because you need to recharge. Or, if you choose to go out and socialize or do things out in the world, you find that the next week after, you start just as exhausted as you were at the end of the last week. Maybe the stress and anxiety of it all will signal to your stomach that your life is in immediate danger. Kind of like the feeling of being really, really high up in the mountains, in the middle of an avalanche, naked. Now, even though you're not, your stomach thinks that you are. So, it starts making weird noises, and then it gets a little gassy. After that, friends, it's only a matter of time before molten lava starts spewing out of the old poop chute. Part 3. You appear to function okay, so people might have a hard time believing you're autistic.
Yeah, but I do that because I'm actually autistic. Really? But you seem fine.
Said so many people. Basically, to them, you might appear to function normally, which is why I don't love the term high-functioning autism. It implies that you somehow function well or at a high level. But when your brain is constantly on the brink of overwhelm, you don't really feel that way. But it is possible to appear to function okay. Be independent, hold a job, have a relationship or be married, possibly have a family, and you can still be autistic. No one really knows the struggle happening inside your brain, but it's there. Not so much here or here. It's mostly in and around here. The struggle in my brain and the brain of many high-masking autistics is absolutely real. Sometimes the struggle is so pervasive or intensely annoying that I struggled to articulate my struggles. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a struggle when you struggle to articulate your struggles. And it gets worse because I often struggle to imagine myself struggling when I struggle to articulate my struggles. And if you're struggling now, as I struggle to explain why I struggle to articulate my struggles, then we're struggling together. Team struggle, baby. What was I talking about? In my brain, there's this tug to gravitate towards what makes my autistic brain feel comfortable and safe. But there's also this intense pull with the decades of masking to continue to mask. Masking sucks, but high masking autistic people often struggle to unmask. So you might not really understand your own needs and who you are under the layers of masking and years of camouflaging. And you also might be really good at not showing those struggles to very many people, or possibly anyone at all. Part 4. The older you get, the harder it seems to mask, if you're continuing to mask. So I didn't get diagnosed until I was 41, but since starting this channel, I'm hearing from tons of other autistic adults who got diagnosed later in life. I feel like a big reason for this is that it seems harder to hide the challenges the older you get. Also, it's harder to climb stairs and put on socks and lift anything heavier than a toothbrush. Probably shouldn't have admitted that.
Idiot!
This might not be true for everyone, but I'm guessing a lot of other high masking autistics have struggled, and it hit a tipping point, like for me. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But once I got diagnosed, I also found it really hard to continue to mask all the time. So I don't think it's only age, but I do think age is a factor. That part of autism where you're not very flexible and have repetitive behaviors and thoughts, well, as I get older, even with the pull of ADHD, I feel this more and more. I'm gravitating more to my autistic tendencies. Maybe because they ground me and make me feel calm. Maybe it's also because it's hard work to mask all the time, and I'm tired. I'm mentally drained. So it makes it hard to go out in the world and pretend all the things that are challenging for me are all smooth sailing. Or maybe it's that I'm more comfortable the older I get with what I want and need. So masking is more challenging. And from other people I've connected with, that's not only true for me. But I'd be curious about what you all think. So drop your own experience in the comments too. Part number 5. You discovered your autism due to burnout and a combination of other things mentioned. If you're a high masking autistic adult who is diagnosed later in life, this probably came because of a combination of all the things I mentioned and quite possibly through at least one bout of burnout. For me, it became so obvious that I was hiding my struggles and just couldn't hide them anymore. And a lot of that was because I was going through autistic burnout. During burnout, I find it so hard to mask. It was also not long after COVID restrictions completely dismantled my routines and stability. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but that's how it happened for me. So, if you discovered your autism later in life and it was because of burnout and a combination of what I mentioned, it's highly likely you are a high masking autistic like me. So, are you a high masking autistic? Which of these have you experienced? What else would you add? Be sure to add to the comments and share with others to help spread awareness of the challenges of being a high masking autistic. As always, thanks for watching. Is that a pigeon? Sounds like a magpie. It's a pigeon? I think it's a flock of pigeons. It's a gaggle. Is that a gaggle? What do we call a group of pigeons? A gaggle of pigeons? A posse of pigeons? A plethora of pigeons? There's a pigeon out here making a lot of noise. Is that a mouse? Now there's a mouse. Just got all the wildlife here. It was super quiet until I needed to start filming. Sanko. Whoa. Now there's bugs. Now we got bugs. This is great. This is fantastic. Just let pigeons stop talking. Apparently there's a few pigeons around here that want to be famous on YouTube.